What's up guys, TopTierYugioh here, and today we're going to duel with Ritual of Blue Eyes. So we have 3 matches today, one versus Pendulums, DDDs, and Qliphort Demise. And a very common question on yesterday's deck profile was whether or not Gale-Dogra's 3000 life point cost was worth it. And I want to know what you guys think. So there's going to be a poll in the top right corner of the screen now, and then at the end of the video, because I want to see how many of you change your minds after seeing the deck in action. Now I do also want to mention that some of these replays use an older build where I was playing Return of the Dragon Lords instead of 1-for-1, but stick around until the end for some analysis of all the games, and then some of the things that I would have and should have done differently, as well as some of the keys to those matchups, and then last I'm going to talk about some of your comments on the deck profile, and maybe suggest making some possible changes to the deck. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so against Pendulums, game 1 he makes a pretty good field with Majespecter Unicorn, but I have the Swords of Concealing Light to flip everything face down, then I'm able to summon double Chaos Max Dragons, and then just OTK him through his board. Game 2 he forces me to go first, and I summon Chaos Max Dragon, but then he draws a Sky Iris and Magical Abductor off of a Lizard Draw and Upstart Goblin, which is really lucky, but that's a really powerful combination that ended with him having Ignister and Vortex Dragon, and that was just a little much for me to handle. I did have the Twin Twisters to destroy his scales, but he had the Acidic Archfiend to force me to use it at the wrong time, and then once again the Lizard Draw and Upstart just got him there. Then game 3 I chose to go second, and he made a similar board as he did in game 1 with Majespecter Unicorn, Magister, like a standard Pendulum first turn play. But then I also happened to have Swords of Concealing Light to flip everything face down. I also had Gale-Dogra, and I was able to summon double Chaos Max Dragons and OTK him again. And now when playing against Pendulums or usually any control deck, I think it's important to recognize what their outs to Chaos Max are. So against Pendulums, for example, they have Ignister, Utopia the Lightning, and then Perform Power Unicorn when it's in the scales. And 2 of those 3 are weak to Valor, and Pendulums in general are weak to Spirit Dragon, so if you have Spirit Dragon plus Valor, that's usually going to be an auto-win situation against most Pendulum decks. They also don't play too many traps that you need to worry about. They might play Solemn Striker to play Ariadne, but really the only thing that affects is Gale-Dogra, as you can't play Solemn Strike on a Chaos Max Dragon. So usually when playing against control decks like Pendulums, your aim is to really just sort of overwhelm them. So let's move on to the match against DDDs to kind of show what this deck is like against the combo deck. So he goes first game 1, and he has a very strong combo. I had the Effect Veiler, but I wasn't too sure when to use it, so I tried to wait for an opportunity, but that opportunity never came. So when do you think I should have used it? On the Genghis? On the Ragnarok? Both were going to summon a monster from the graveyard, and he ended up with the extra Ragnarok anyways, so did that Veiler even matter? Let me know what you think in the poll that's in the top right corner of the screen. But then, on my turn, the moment I drew that second Effect Veiler after not using the first one, I knew it was over. Like, there was no chance. And in game 2, I chose to go second after siding in Maxis, Veiler, Kaijus. I was feeling pretty good. So much so that I even drew 2 Maxis, right? No, that's not that good. But I'm able to resolve one of the Maxis to kind of slow him down a little bit. But then he plays Deck Devastation Virus, which really hurt a lot. I did have Pot of Desires, but when I used it, I drew into a second copy of Desires and a Take-Time board, which I was forced to discard. So that was a very quick and swift OTK the next turn, as I just didn't have any plays after that. One thing I could have done differently was play the Swords Concealing Light anyways. He wouldn't have been able to flip his face-down monster face-up, I don't think. But either way, I lose that game. Like, there's just no way I win. Some of the takeaways when playing against a combo deck like DDs is that combo decks are very difficult for Ritual Blue Eyes to play against, because when going first, they can set up boards to prevent you from doing anything, and then when they go second, they can put up enough damage to sometimes attack over Gale Dogra, or even Chaos Max Dragon itself, or they might have another out to Chaos Max Dragon, such as Crystal Wing or F-Zero, or there are a lot of different ways that different combo decks can get over large giant monsters. And that brings me to my next point, that being that Crystal Wing is a huge thing to deal with, as it can just attack over Chaos Max Dragon. And it's sort of an epidemic right now where people are splashing Ultimate Azulkin and everything. But similar to Pendulums, deities are also weak to the combination of Spirit Dragon plus Veiler, so that's something that we do have in our favor. We also have Swords of Concealing Light and Book of Eclipse to sort of get over their big fields of monsters that they can make, so that's also a plus. But all in all, combo decks are probably the hardest matchup, so decks like DDs or Fire King Cosmo can be very difficult to beat. So now let's see how Ritual Blue Eyes does against Qliphort Demise, or Demise decks in general, or anything with just a lot of traps. It'll be very, very similar. So let's go ahead and get into that.
To daydream about those memories made when the ocean slipped our hearts away, basking in the sun. My lover, do you remember that time? Those cerulean tides, sapphire dive. I find myself thinking about our sweet escape. I love to daydream about those memories made when love.
So game 1, he has Scout, Sacrifice, and Helix. I know he searched the Qliphort down, and he set one unknown back row. And so I know the only thing I had to worry about was one of his traps. He only had one real answer to anything that I could do. And so when I summon my Terratop, I go take Tom Borg and go for Totem Bird. And the reason I do Totem Bird is because I don't know which one to destroy if I were to summon a Break Sword or if I played Grand Pulse. But Totem Bird's going to be able to stop whatever he does regardless of what it is, because he does only have one real trap. And then he can't stop a Chaos Max if it was like a Solemn Strike or Warning. But then he does end up Solemn Striking the Totem Bird. And after that I know I'm just free to do whatever I want. So I summon double Chaos Max Dragons and then just attack into his Helix twice, because it's protected by sacrifice, so I couldn't destroy it by battle. Then on his next turn he realized he just doesn't have an out to it, so he surrenders. Game 2 was a game that will probably haunt me for a long time. He has Rivalry, and I had a Twin Twister, but because I had all dragons, I sort of tunnel visioned into thinking that I was going to save the Twin Twisters for real traps, because I could just play around the Rivalry Warlords. And then on his next turn he plays Scout and sets 2 more back row, and I'm like, well, I can't leave Scout on board, and I really want to destroy these back row, so I decided to destroy them, and I allow him to keep the Rivalry Warlords, but then I also drew in the Gale Dogger, so I needed to summon 2 different types, but I'd already sort of decided not to destroy Rivalry, which was a mistake on my behalf. And then game 3, I sort of corrected that mistake, where he made the exact same board as game 2, like set 2 back rows, summon a Qliphort monster, and I immediately Twin Twister both of his back row. So now that those are gone, I'm free to do whatever I want. I summon Gale Dogger, Totem Bird, and I go into Chaos Max, and then he immediately surrenders, knowing he doesn't have the outs to it. So when playing against decks like Qliphort Demise or usually any other Demise deck, the big problem that they have is they don't have engine outs to Chaos Max, which is a huge advantage for us. So we compare it to something like Pendulums, they can use their engine to summon an Ignister or Utopia the Lightning, so that within their engine, they can out Chaos Max. Same in big combo decks, like within DDD's engine, they can summon a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is a problem for us. But against Qli Demise, they have no such ability. And so our main threats against them are their floodgates. So cards like Lose One Turn or Skill Drink are really dangerous because they can make Chaos Max more vulnerable. So like Lose a Turn can change it to defense when it has 0 defense. Or Skill Drink can make it vulnerable to destruction or targeting. Other things you have to worry about are some of the mirror forces. Some of those can be pretty dangerous, so you gotta be careful with those. So I'm playing against any sort of deck that's similar to Demise Stun. Usually once you summon your Chaos Max, they're gonna have a lot of trouble dealing with it. So now the last thing I want to talk about is some possible changes I can make to the deck, and I'm going to reply to some of the comments that you guys made on the last video. And so Yugioh Mastery made a comment saying that trade-ins were needed, and I think trade-in is awesome in regular Blue Eyes, but I don't think it's as good in this build, because I play 8 level 8 monsters, but I don't ever really want to discard a Chaos Max. Discarding Alternative Dragon also isn't very good at all. And again, it's really good in regular Blue Eyes, but in the Ritual build, I don't really have the stones to search them and to keep getting them back from the graveyard to make trade-in consistent. And so when playing trade-in the Ritual build, it's sort of a duality between wanting to actually use your level 8 monsters or wanting to discard them to draw 2 more cards. And so that's why I chose against playing trade-in in this deck. But thanks for the comment, Yugioh Mastery. Love your channel. Keep up the great work, man. Next, there was a comment from Ill Billy saying Tiramisu bows to no one. But Dolce Tiramisu is definitely an out to Chaos Max Dragon, and a lot of rogue decks do have outs to Chaos Max. So it's something to worry about when playing against rogue decks, which is why cards like Effect Veiler and Maxi are important, because they're good against anything. So they can really help you prepare for some of these unknown decks that you might not expect. Not that my Dolces are unknown, but you know. Next we have a comment from Ladder Lappin, and he mentions cutting the second Takedown board because I have 3 Terratops and then 3 Terratop targets. And he's absolutely right. So originally my reason behind playing the second Takedown board was because I wanted to be able to summon a rank 3 from Terratop even after using Desires. But you're right, having 3 good cards and 3 bad cards is a very bad ratio, and it would be much better to test my luck and only play the 2 targets. Plus, you know what they say, no risk it, no biscuit. And then we already mentioned trade-ins. But I don't know what you mean by not seeing Vanities in the main or side, it's right here. No, I'm kidding. But Vanities is actually a really good idea. I should add it to the side deck. It'd be great when going first. And I might also add in and start a Spark Dragon to kind of go with that. And then the King of Thieves mentioned Red Resonator. And he says that you can summon Resonator, special summon Gale Dogger, use your Gale Dogger stuff to search your Chaos Maxes, and then synchro into a Herald of the Arclight. So you have that negation on board. And like he says, Herald plus Chaos Max is really, really cool. And so I'm curious to know what you guys think about that as well. My fear with this is that it might not synergize as well with the other cards in the deck. Like it'd be great with Gale Dogger, but not really anything else. But again, I want to know what you guys think, so comment down below what you think about Red Resonator and Blue Eyes. And now one change that I was thinking about making was adding in a third Sage with Eyes of Blue. And the reason behind this was I wanted to maximize the consistency of getting Spirit Dragon plus Veiler. And so this is not only a tuner, but it also searches the Veiler, so it's really important to making that board. Second, it can also clear dead Gale Doggers off the board after you use the effect. in order to protect me from being like OTK'd over a dead Gildogger, which happens, you know, every now and then. It does happen. And so this kind of prevents that situation. And now I know I did mention that I didn't want to play over 6 normal summons in the deck, and that is still true. However, Sage with Eyes of Blue doesn't always have to be a normal summon. And that's sort of what I kind of missed when I was first constructing this deck, is that Sage with Eyes of Blue, unlike Gildogger, isn't always a normal summon. It has a hand effect. And so it might be worth it to play 3 Gildogger and 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue along with the red-eyed dice. And now finally to the doubters of Gildogger, after seeing this deck in action, what do you think about it now? There's gonna be a poll in the top right corner of the screen once again. But seriously, thanks to all of you guys for commenting. You guys are great. I love interacting with everyone, so it's always really cool to see a lot of comments on a video. And a special thanks to everyone who knew about that juicy Blue Eyes goodness from the last video. And now if you made it this far into the video and realized that Ritual Blue Eyes isn't your cup of tea, I do have a standard build of Blue Eyes and the Galaxy Blue Eyes deck profile on my Facebook and my Twitter. So head over to those platforms if you're interested in those, then we could probably talk more about that there. And now with all that being said, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.